What's going on, everybody? How is everybody doing? Thank you for such a great start to the stream, can I just say. Already we have a lot of people actually jumping in and putting messages in the chat, so thank you so much for coming and joining us for this Game Week 32 stream. So I now know the audio is working, so we're all good to go. If anyone's having any problems, let me know. And let's just see who is in the chat. We've got Shashank Bandari. How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you in the chat. We've got Byrie Beckford. We've got Thomas McCarthy. We've got Daz Dark. We've got Jamal Rice. We've got TP Football Analysis is in the chat as well. The False Nine. Siraj. We've got some heavy hitters in here right from the beginning, which is nice to see. As far as the kid is doing well. We visited the midwife. Everything is good. With the kid and my wife at the moment, so thumbs up for that. Everything's going swimmingly, apart from the lack of sleep that I've been getting recently. Not that I'm complaining, the wife's not been getting any sleep either. Jeff Holt, FPL Red Eagle. Is it because there's international football on, so everyone's free? Because England are playing tomorrow, as far as I'm aware, which is why I'm doing it tonight. I feel like we got off to such a flying start because no one else is playing. No one decent. Amir Hajar in the chat as well. Jeremy T in the chat. Bill X in the chat. Wow. Great start we've got off to. As we are starting, I would just like to say thank you for all the well wishes on Twitter, in comments, in the chat, on streams. Any way you've sent me well wishes has been much appreciated. And the support, while I've not been as active as I usually am, has still been great, so thank you guys so much for that. And let's talk some FPL, shall we? So, first of all, I want to cover the fact that we have actually got Game Week 34 planned. And it looks like more of the fixtures are going to be played in Game Week 37 than Game Week 34, which means potentially there's more points in Game Week 37 than there is in 34. However, 34, of course, is a more competitive game week because by Game Week 37, titles can be won already, positions can already be guaranteed, relegation can already be decided. But in Game Week 34, if I just find where I had the news, you watch, I don't even have it up anymore. Great start. Okay, confirmed double game week 34 schedule. Bournemouth are going to have a double game week. They have Liverpool and Man United. Liverpool away and Man United at home. Brighton have Crystal Palace away and Tottenham at home. Burnley have Leicester and Chelsea at home. Chelsea have Southampton and Burnley away. Leicester have Burnley away and then Southampton at home. Man United have West Bromwich Albion at home. And then Bournemouth away. Then we have Southampton with Chelsea at home, Leicester away. And then we have Spurs with Man City at home and Brighton Hove Albion away. Only Burnley have 2 home matches in this period. And I believe only Burnley playing double game week 34 and then playing game week 35. Or have a double game week in 34 and then playing game week 35 is what I should say. So that is big because what was being expected was more games to be played in Game Week 34 than 37. I believe you've got a lot of the big teams with big double game weeks in Game Week 37. Because of the announcement for Game Week 34, matches that still need to be announced and will probably be put in Game Week 37. I'm almost 100% sure they'll be put in Game Week 37. Is Chelsea versus Huddersfield, Leicester versus Arsenal, Man City versus Brighton, Swansea versus Southampton, Tottenham versus Newcastle, and West Ham versus Man United. So that does have a little bit of an effect on how we plan for the double game weeks and the blanks. I'm probably still going to do the same strategy, but I am questioning myself whether I should play the bench boost in 37. The only reason I wouldn't is because I'm worried about rotation being a factor. Because I can see, if any of you played last year, Chelsea in Game Week 37, in one of the games played a really rotated side with a lot of youngsters brought up. And that messed up a lot of people's double game week 37. So I can see like Man City, for instance, if they're still in the Champions League, rotating in that fixture. Anyone still with FA Cup hopes could be rotating as well. So probably still do the same strategy, but it isn't as ideal as I'd have liked. And it does make it harder for some of the people that don't have the free hit for Game Week 35, because we assumed a lot of teams would have a double game week in 34 and play in 35, and they no longer do. So I'm not going to lie, my internet's not worked until today, so I've not planned as much as I'd have liked, because planning on my phone and planning on my computer are two separate worlds entirely. So hopefully I will get some videos out, potentially, be able to do some over the weekend, hopefully, in regards to strategy and all of that, and I'll answer as best as I can tonight. But I still haven't watched Match of the Day, apart from the Liverpool game. I watched that because the wife was out enjoying herself, because of course when you're pregnant you can't drink with your friends. She's no longer pregnant, so she went and had a few drinks with friends, and I was left with the kids. And yes, it was a challenging night, because my older one doesn't realise that, yes, I've got two kids to look after now. But anyway, enough about that. Also, didn't mention it, but what is everyone drinking? I'm drinking beer. However, I am mixing it with lemonade, because I might have to get up during the night. So there's lemonade there to mix with my beer. So I'm not drinking as heavily, but the wife knows I'm streaming, so she may pick up the flack there. Anyway, back to the chat. Okay, I see why he did that. To be honest, I'd be a bit lenient, Thomas, with Jamal. Like, he's a regular in here. Every now and again, you write a swear word. It's not awful if he does that. We trust Jamal. Anyway, back to the chat, and let's see if there are any questions for me. And then if not, we will move on to how I did in Game Week 31. Thomas McCarthy's played the wild card. I can't find any questions. Thank you very much, Amir, for saying I'm the best YouTuber. Best free defenders to look forward. Okay, so best free defenders. If we look at the actual fixture list, and it's not 100% confirmed yet, but as far as ease of fixtures go, if we look at Game Week 32, 33 and 34, I suppose we can look at 35 and 36 as well, because they aren't going to change. They might just have a game put in there or not. But Burnley have West Brom, Watford away, Leicester at home, and then Chelsea at home. Then they have Stoke away and Brighton Hove Albion at home. Leicester potentially going to score against them. Chelsea potentially going to score against them. However, they are at home and they do have a good record at home. And then the other teams, they could potentially keep clean sheets again. The favourites there, of course, are me and Pope, but Heaton is, of course, coming back from injury. You then got the likes of Loughton as well, who could do well, but has been injured, so I probably wouldn't risk going with him. Liverpool, of course, don't have any double game weeks. However, they do have a man called Andrew Robertson who looked really good in the last two Liverpool games I've seen him in. So he would be one I'll be willing to take a risk on as far as points returned for a player, even though he doesn't have a double game week. We then got Leicester. As far as it looks, they've got a very easy run in. At the moment, they've got Brighton Hove Albion away, Newcastle at home, Burnley away, Southampton at home in Game Week 34. 35 is a blank, and then it's Crystal Palace away in Game Week 36. With Leicester, you're probably only really looking at Harry Maguire because of the potential for goals. You could maybe look at someone like Danny Simpson for a cheap alternative into that side if you really think they're going to keep a clean sheet. But Leicester haven't been the best at keeping clean sheets. Arsenal's running until game week 36, where they've got Man United away, is pretty good. They've got Stoke, Southampton, Newcastle, and then West Ham. We did think they were going to have a double game week in 34. It looks like they're going to play it in 37, which is a surprise. Lots of people were moving towards Arsenal players because they assumed their fixture in hand would be moved to 34. So they've got Stoke and Southampton at home, then Newcastle away, then West Ham at home, then Man United away. Then you've got Brighton, who have less... first of all, Arsenal defenders. You're probably looking at Mustafi and Monreal as the two likely options to get into that defence. Then for me, Brighton, Leicester and Huddersfield at home. Crystal Palace away and Tottenham at home in game week 34, a blank, and then Burnley. Potentially with Brighton, you've got the likes of, is it Duffy? Or Dunk. They both get attempts on goal. One scored an own goal recently. One has, I think, goal and assist happened recently while I had him on my bench. Those are the two I'd look at from Brighton's defence. Then really, maybe Watford. Don't really see Watford getting clean sheets, but their next four aren't too bad. Bournemouth, Burnley, Huddersfield, Crystal Palace. Wouldn't really look at them though. You do have Huddersfield with Newcastle, Brighton, Hove Albion, Watford, then a blank, and then Everton. You've got the likes of Schindler in that defence there. I know I'm not suggesting many big teams, but if I was looking at the big teams, I'd probably go with Liverpool and you'd go Van Dijk or Robertson. Arsenal, you've got a good chance of clean sheets there. Chelsea, once they get past Tottenham in game week 32, have a very good run in. West Ham, Southampton, Burnley, Swansea. So potentially you could get some clean sheets there. If Christensen's playing, he's the cheapest option into that defence. Alonso could get goals if you can afford to spend that cash on Alonso, if you've got your squad budget level up high enough. Tottenham, they do have Chelsea next. They do have Man City in their double game week 34. However, with the likes of Stoke, Brighton and Watford there, they could still get clean sheet points. Man United, again, they've got Man City and Arsenal coming up, but they do also have West Brom, Bournemouth and Swansea in a blank in 35. Not too sure what I think of that Man United side at the moment. They're kind of up and down, so I'm a bit confused of where to go with that side. Man City, great choice, but I mean, as far as fixtures go, they could still do really well. I just really don't know who to pick from that side anymore. It's really confusing. I would like Aguero, and I'd like Jesus if the other one was injured. De Bruyne probably is the safest way in, but the points get spread around. There will be rotation, especially if they beat Liverpool and stay in the Champions League. However, they are also playing for a lot of records in the Premiership. So I think if Liverpool knocked them out, they may play a strong team until the end of the season just to break some records. So that is one to watch, but I really don't know what Man City players to pick, which is why at the moment my wildcard side doesn't have a Man City player in it because I just don't know who to go with. And then that's probably about it. So I hope I've helped you with the best three defenders to be looking at, but you can let me know in the chat. Ammon Dillon's in the chat. How you doing? Seb is in the chat. Thank you so much. Ilka Hortanen. Thank you very much for the congratulations. Also, not sure I've seen you in the chat before. If you have been in the chat before, apologies for forgetting your name. Siraj, I'm waiting for the final episode of Dragon Ball Super. A little bit disappointed that Ultra Instinct just kind of died out. Like, it worked, it was brilliant, it was great to watch, and then it just stopped working. Like, I don't know, I always feel like Goku loses, but somehow wins. Which, I was hoping for something different this time, but I am waiting. I'm waiting to see that, and I saw the trailer for the movie that's coming up, that looks pretty decent. TP's team, he's got Pope, De Gea, Otamendi, Daniels, Monreal, me, Mbemba, Walcott, Sterling, Mane, Salah, Grosh, De Poitre, Firmino, Rooney, 0.5 in the bank. Who to transfer out? Should I play my wild card? There's two trains of thoughts for me. You either play it now and try and get the players in that you really think you need before they go up in value, or you would look at potentially playing it before game week 33, because then you know the Game Week 34 and 37 fixtures, because I believe April 2nd they will release the fixtures for the other fixtures when they're going to be played. Potentially you could see then lost my train of thought. The lay of the land, basically, and make a better educated decision, because there's a chance the games that haven't been rescheduled will get put somewhere else. I doubt it, because generally they don't want to play games when Champions League games are going on as well, even if they're not involved anymore. Would be interesting and a curveball if they did do something else, but in the long run, we know which teams have fixtures extra to play, so if we plan ahead, we should be okay. To transfer out, I would be looking... I'm not sure about Rooney. I think now that Game Week 31's passed, we don't need Walcott anymore. Mbemba, not too sure about. Otherwise, it's not awful. The rest of your team's pretty decent. Amir Hajar, why do you not do kits for your team? Do I not do kits? I think I've just gone the whole season and forgotten to do a kit. You guys tell me what colours you want. Maybe I'll do like Twitter blue because of the flock. Joshua Oram, how you doing? Siraj, time to get Jesse Messi. Oh, don't talk about Jesse Lingard. For a minute I got confused then. Essential players. That's always difficult to predict. I think you've got to look at the people going for the golden boot. So you've got Harry Kane when he comes back. You've got Salah, who will want to stay in the lead. I don't know who else is close. I've not really looked at it recently. I'm assuming Aguero and Lukaku. So potentially they may be wanting to go for it. You've got to look at players that have something to prove. So potentially Jamie Vardy could be a great shout because he's got an easy run of fixtures and he's going to want to make sure he's in that England squad. Any other must-have players? Mahrez has looked really good despite his transfer fall-through. Aubameyang looked a great choice for the immediate future with Game Week 34 and 35, but now that they don't have a double game week in 34, not looking as great, but still looks like a good shout. Because of that as well, Mkhitaryan potentially, but they do still have European football. I thought Milan were going to beat them, and they didn't, so who knows what is going to happen there. Anyone else I think is a must-have. I think the Liverpool players, there's no reason to get rid of the Liverpool players just yet, in my mind. So I wouldn't get rid of the Liverpool players just yet. I mean, if Aguero hadn't got injured, he could have been a good look. Man City, the problem I have with Man City is the rotation risk, especially if they stay in the Champions League. Probably not the best answer I've ever given you, Shashank, but I'm not going to lie, I've done very little research so far. Would you suggest a triple captain? Who would you suggest as triple captain for Game Week 34? Alright, let's have a look at Game Week 34. I'm not sure if they've actually updated it on here yet. Oh, they have. There we go. So, as far as teams that have a double Game Week 34... I'm going to look at a different screen for me there. There we go. Burnley, don't see a triple captain there. You've got Leicester. Potentially you could go Vardy or Mahrez, but that would be a differential pick. Could work really well, could backfire. Wouldn't pick anyone from Brighton, wouldn't pick anyone from Bournemouth. Chelsea, Southampton, Burnley, you could potentially go Hazard. He could have 2 good games in a row. Willian has looked on fire recently. Not sure I would really jump on anyone triple captain there. Tottenham, Man City, Brighton, Hove Albion. I mean, Kane can do amazing things in a double game week. He can also do what he did in game week 21 or 22, where he did very little at all. And I wasted my triple captain on him. So, Kane is a choice. Son could also potentially have a great 2 games. There's potential for him to be explosive. Not sure I'd really risk it with Man City, though. Southampton, I wouldn't triple captain. Man United, you could go Lukaku. When Man United do score goals, he's generally involved. Sanchez hasn't looked great as far as a fantasy Premier League asset. It'd probably only be Lukaku I'd consider, who I'd have any kind of hope to do well in 2 games in a row. It is West Brom Bournemouth though, so if you can pick the right Man United pick there, you could get a great return that potentially everyone else is going to overlook. But Lukaku would be the one I would probably put my money on in that game week, in that double game week. So Raj, as far as wildcard, I'd say you either do it now or you do it when the Game Week 37 fixtures come out, when the other fixtures get rescheduled. I have wildcarded. As you can see, if I just go to my wildcard side, just take to note that this isn't... First of all, I just want to quickly talk about my Game Week 31. 87 points. Average points was 46. I was 688,065th. I did well. 87 points is good, especially for a game like this. Of course, 58 of those points came from Mohamed Salah. Then 7 points from Firmino and 6 points from Van Dijk. Walcott managed to get me some points. However, everyone else did nothing. Wilson, Richarlison, Van Lepara, Shaqiri, Baines, Schindler, Lascelles, nothing. And because the players around me did better, I dropped out of the top 1%. So on 87 points, I dropped out of the top 1%. However, if I hadn't planned ahead, the Van Dijk point and the Walcott points wouldn't have been there. So potentially I could have done without it, but I'd have dropped a bit more. But at least I didn't drop loads, I suppose. Anyway, as far as my wildcard team at the moment, and take it with a pinch of salt because this will change. I know it will change. I've got still a week and a bit to look over it. Still got Pope in goal because Burnley's fixtures. Dubravka from Newcastle, 4.5 million. He looks a decent shout. They're going to be fighting for their lives to stay up. You've got Adam Smith, who's looked on form for Bournemouth. Not that Bournemouth get clean sheets, but he has been played at right mid a couple of times. You've got me, still like the look of Burnley. You've got Robertson, I think, at 5 million at Liverpool. Attacking left-back like Robertson, who seems mature enough to defend as well. Looks like a good shout. Schindler, Huddersfield's fixtures look okay. Lascelles, again, probably will change him out, but I'm looking at Newcastle thinking there might be some points there. Because they do look okay and do look like they're likely to stay up. Midfield is pretty stacked. Did look at Grosh, but at the moment got Willian in there, you got Salah in there, you got Son in there, you got Mkhitaryan, you got Mahrez. Potentially Son, Eriksen could be a swap. Salah, I can't get Salah out the side. I just don't see the value of getting him out. Willian, Chelsea's fixtures look decent. Not sure I want to put the money out for Hazard, which is why he's not there. Mahrez, Leicester's running looks good. He looks like he still wants to play football, even if he doesn't necessarily want to be at Leicester. You've got Firmino, who's also been doing good for me. Aubameyang, and then Murray. Aubameyang, because the fixtures look good, and I thought he was going to have a double game week 34. Murray, because he seems like the best choice out of the cheap strikers for me at the moment anyway. And Brighton's fixtures are decent. So that is the team at the moment. The fact I've got no Man City player in there is worrying to me. Also, I probably would still want Harry Kane in my side. I know I may just be shooting myself in the foot by continuously persisting with wanting Harry Kane in my side. But that has spent all my budget. So who knows what I will do moving forward from that. But that is my answer to is it wildcard time now. I've already played mine. By the way, we've been consistently over 40. I know it doesn't say it on my screen because that actual add-on is absolute rubbish. It always shows the wrong number. It's showing 31. We're actually at 43. JC has joined the flock. Thank you so much for joining the flock, JC. Welcome to the flock. Can we get some birds in the chat for JC? I think I'm probably way behind on the chat as well. So I think I'll just drop to the bottom as well. Could we be having one of those long epic streams again? Bench boost 34, free hit 35, triple captain 37. That is the strategy I suggested in my videos. What I would say now is 34 doesn't seem to be better fixture wise than what 37 will be, but 37, one, isn't finalized, and two, just rotation can happen that close to the end of the season. So I'd still probably put my hat on that as a tactic, George Butler, and thank you for joining the stream. FA Cup greater than Champions League. If you say so, Siraj. Joshua Oram, I think I just spoke about Vardy. I do think he's a very good option. I think he could do very well. He wants to get into that England side, of course, and Leicester have the fixtures for him to really do it. That at the top there, because it's next to the YouTube sign, Big Bro, is the people viewing the stream at the moment. Not my points. My points was 86 or 87. With Hughes, do you think the Saints will stay up? I think you could have the positive effect of a manager change. I wouldn't, as a chairman myself, would I have made that change that close to the end of the season? Probably not. But they should have made the change earlier, I feel. I think they've got the players to do it. I don't know, to be honest, TP. I really don't know. But I think they've got a better chance now they've changed manager than before. The false 9 is on the corona. I'm off work all week and there's no club football. That's the way it works, isn't it? You get time off and then there's no decent football on. Siraj, that's viewers. JNO isn't that bad of an FPL player. I've had my bad weeks. George, my wildcard is active. And Seb, I will be playing World Cup Fantasy. I don't know which World Cup Fantasy game I'll be playing yet. I would like to see what you guys think, for one. If there's one that you guys are leaning towards. And two, there's potentially a project I've got going on where I would maybe need to be in a specific World Cup Fantasy game. But that isn't nailed on yet. So, not decided yet, but I will be playing World Cup Fantasy football. Steve Shotton, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Keep or sell Nick Pope. I think he's going to play the rest of the season unless he gets injured or his form drastically drops. The false 9, I'm going with the theory that Pope probably will keep playing, purely because to bring in Tom Heaton now, like, that's kind of throwing him at the deep end. End of the season, last games of the season, and Nick Pope hasn't done anything wrong to really justify dropping him. I feel like you'd stick with Nick Pope if I was the Burnley manager. For all I know, Tom Heaton may have something in his contract that says he should be the first choice keeper if he's fit. Yeah, I can't see dropping Nick Pope making sense, though, if you're purely looking at it from a football side. However, if Burnley are safe and they've got nothing to play for, he might play Tom Heaton in the rest of the games and go, Nick, you can have the rest of the season off. Jeff Holt's first draft has David De Gea, Hennessy, Robertson. We've both got Robertson, Morgan, Chilwell. So that's 2 Leicester defenders as far as I'm aware. Tarkowski and me, 2 Burnley defenders. Son, I've got Son as well. Grosh, I looked at Grosh. Salah, Silva, Mahrez. I like Mahrez. I've got Mahrez in as well. Salah, no reason to drop him. Barnes, that could be a good differential, to be honest. Lukaku and Aubameyang. Initial thoughts, I think Aubameyang and Lukaku, I think you should be going for one of them, if not both. So I can't disagree with those 2 strikers. Barnes is an interesting one. I think he could do decent as long as he plays. There are other options in that Barnsley side for strikers, though, if that's the Barnes that you're talking of. I think Mahrez is a good shout. David Silva, any Man City player is a good shout. It's just whether they get the points over the other players. Gross, I like. Son, I like. Anything Burnley, I like, personally. I like their defence. I think it's kind of replaced West Brom for me as the reliable defenders in the game that are cheap. Probably won't be cheap next season, though. That's the problem. Not sure I'd go for 2 Leicester defenders, but I can see why, because of the fixtures. Robertson, I love the choice of Robertson. I personally would put my hat on Robertson right now. I know a lot of the times I talk kind of in a way where I might suggest something, but I'm also covering myself if it goes wrong, because this game you can never be 100% sure. However, every now and again I will go yes to a player, and I said it about Salah pretty early on, and I'm now saying it about Robertson for the rest of this season. I would put my hat on Robertson and say he's worthy of getting into your sides, even without a double game week. And to think, Jamal, I thought Liverpool's defence was rubbish at the beginning of the season, and you came in and told me check your facts a bit more. But sometimes it is easy to watch games and see the mistakes. You amplify the mistakes and then don't look at the stats. But to be honest, Lovren, now you've not got Lovren in there. How did Southampton make Lovren look good? Steve Shotton is going 33 for his wild card because he needs the Kane news. That's clever, but to me, is Kane really worth waiting for? The way he's played this season? I know he's got the pedigree that he could have a great end to the season though, but yeah, I can see why you're doing that. I just feel like I've probably done worse than I could have done if I hadn't stuck with Kane for so long. Jeremy T, as far as I'm aware, has Amati been playing right back? Because I'd have thought Simpson would keep his place, because from my knowledge, Amati is a midfielder, a centre mid that can play centre back and right back, but I'd have thought he would, which means I've not paid enough attention to Leicester games recently, or when Amati was playing. Jeff Holt drinking heavily. I wish I could drink heavily. I might see if I can get away with it tonight. One of those days. What happened, Jeff? Trust me, Jeff. I think no matter what happened to you today, I could probably beat it with one of my days this week. But it's all love. I'm happy to do it. But yeah, 2 kids can be a nightmare. Nice to see the love still there, Jamal and Thomas. I have not played my free hit yet. I'm probably still going to play at 35. Probably. I might look and see if I can play at 37 and have a gamble. But probably still going to play at 35. TP, I'd suggest that the standard way of doing it is to use free hit game week 35. Had a good game week 31 and rose to number. Well done, Jeff. Almost in the top 10k. It's where I want to be, but it's not where I'm at. Best 4 midfielders. I play my wild card. I would say right now, Salah is a must. Don't drop Salah just because he's not got a double game week. If I was going to pick other midfielders right now, Mahrez is on form. So I'd pick Mahrez. Son looks on form. So I'd look at Son. Then it's going to be difficult. I'd say a Man City midfielder, but they share points so much. The 4th midfielder is really difficult. I mean, I've got Willian at the moment, and I've got Mkhitaryan at the moment, because they're cheapish options in good sides, and they've both shown potential for big FPL points. I would be very hard pushed to put my hat on a 4th must-have midfielder right now. I would try play the fixtures, which is what I'm trying to do with the team I've currently got, but That's the thing. At the moment, I've got no Man City or Man United midfielder, and one of them could do amazing, and I'm just going to watch them from the bench, or not from the bench, but not in my side, and watch my ranking drop. So that's a really difficult question, but the three I'd definitely look at is Salah, Mahrez, and Son. They seem like the form players right now. Can I just say, we've stayed in the 40s for 30 minutes in this stream. So thank you for everyone watching. Can we get over 50? Remember to share this out if you haven't shared it out yet. If you've got a Twitter account and you're not sharing my video out, come on. Team Flock, come on. TV Football Analyst, remember the early days where people used to care about FPL Draft? I think it's still a great idea. I personally think it's one of those that is best when you play it with your friends. Like, so you can brag about it, you can discuss stuff and all that kind of good stuff. I just feel like if there's too many people playing it, like in my streams that we did, you end up with a team and you look at the team and go, and then you forget about it because you're too busy trying to make sure your rank is decent. Siraj, Android 17 is MVP. I was always an Android 18 fan from Dragon Ball Z, but yeah, he's been portrayed really well in Dragon Ball Z Super. I even like Frieza a lot more now. I suppose I'm older now, so I can appreciate a villain more than when I watched Dragon Ball Z, but Frieza definitely has gone up in my estimations as a character. I don't like how Vegeta's always Why can't Vegeta have a decent moment? Just give him 1 or 2 decent moments where he surpasses Goku for even a little bit and just wins. Like, even when Frieza first came back, Vegeta should have beaten him and didn't. But anyway. Is it worth keeping hold of Toussaint as a third striker? I don't think Everton's fixtures really suggest that. Man City and Liverpool next. I suppose from Game Week 34 onwards you could, but there's probably going to be similar options with Double Game Week. So I'd probably look at getting Toussaint out right now. By the way, apologies to anyone that doesn't watch Dragon Ball Z Super, but when someone asks me a question about Dragon Ball Z Super, my natural reaction is to start answering the question. So apologies, some of you may not have a clue what I just spoke about. Torres Magic, welcome to the chat. When is Double Game Week? Game Week 34 is officially a Double Game Week. There are still fixtures to be rescheduled, Dinesh, and welcome to the chat. I reckon there'll be Game Week 37. There's potential for some of them to be put elsewhere. If I actually have a look at the fixtures that haven't been rescheduled yet. Chelsea, Huddersfield, Leicester, Arsenal, Man City, Brighton, Swansea, Southampton, Tottenham, Newcastle, West Ham, Man United. Now, as far as I'm aware, they're unlikely to put any team that is still in a cup competition anywhere but Game Week 37. So Arsenal are still in Europe. So Chelsea, as far as I'm aware, are out. Yeah, they lost to Barcelona. So Chelsea, Huddersfield could get put somewhere else. I doubt it, but it could. Leicester, Arsenal won't. Man City, Brighton won't, because they'll be scheduling it before they know who still is and isn't in competitions. But there's the potential they'll still be in it. Swansea, Southampton could get put somewhere else. I'm probably forgetting a team that's... I think Southampton might still be in the FA Cup. I'm forgetting which teams are still in the FA Cup. I know Spurs are. I know Man United are. I feel like it might be Chelsea and Southampton. So in that case, Chelsea and Southampton games, if that is true, they will not be moved anywhere else but Game Week 37 in my eyes. So, actual fact, you're probably only looking at West Ham, Man United are still in it, aren't they? I can't see any of those fixtures getting moved anywhere else. I may have just made up some teams in the FA Cup still. But yeah, I don't see them being put anywhere but game week 37. So, I mean, you can take what I said with a pinch of salt because I don't even remember what teams are in the FA Cup still. And I watched the FA Cup over the weekend. My wildcard team, David De Gea. This is JP43, by the way. Thanks for joining the chat. We've got David De Gea, we've got Pope, Smalling, Christensen, Loughton, Van der Horn, Lascelles, Morris, Salah, Son, William Kennedy, Vardy, Orba, and Firmino. I like the strikers. They could do perfectly well, actually. Just, I suppose, because they're cheaper options, I'm kind of like... I kind of feel like you haven't got a heavy hitter, but... I suppose Orba is your heavy hitter, but he's not proven in the league, Aubameyang. Kennedy, I actually like the look of. He was in one of my initial drafts when I played the wildcard. I do like the look of him at Newcastle. Can't argue with any of those midfielders, to be fair. Lascelles, I've got him in my team, so I can't really argue. The fixtures look decent. Van der Horn could be okay. Loughton, I prefer me, just because he's guaranteed to play, nailed on, all that kind of stuff. Pope, I like. David De Gea, I like. Smalling, I'm sorry for all Man United fans, but I've watched a couple of Man United games recently, and I never know if I'm going to get the good Man United or the shit Man United. Sorry, the bad Man United. So, yeah. I just don't like going with teams where I'm not confident what will happen. And by the way, if anyone went with my Huddersfield picks for Game Week 31, I apologise, because Huddersfield really let me down, as well as anyone that would have followed me in those moves. Black and white stripes, Steve Shotton says, for the kit. Craig Manuel, how you doing, my friend? TP, you can use your wildcard now and still make transfers during the break. So, for instance, I've picked a team now. I can completely change that all over again. So, you can play it now, and if something does happen over the international break with injuries, you're not stuck with what you picked. Game week 34, double game week. Who can we captain? I mean, I would lean towards Lukaku or a Man United option because of the fixtures, or Chelsea if you have a Chelsea option. But part of me would just stick with Liverpool. Liverpool against Bournemouth. If Salah scores 4 and gets an assist in a game again, it doesn't matter that he's only played one game week. The first season I started doing this on YouTube, or it may have been the season before I started doing this on YouTube, I remember I was in Somerset. I was drinking some West Country cider, and I was very, very drunk. And Kane, who didn't have a double game week for whatever game week I was playing, but was the informed man at the moment of the time at a very cheap price. He went and scored 2 or 3 goals in that game week, and none of the double game week strikers scored more than 1. So I captained the right player when most people captained the double game week player, because I just looked at the form and the fixture, and I was right. It won't always work, but that was one of those moments when, over my friends, who a lot of them at the time were really into fantasy football, a lot of them have dropped off, which is unfortunate for me, but I've now got you guys, so it's all good. That was one of those moments where I got to really brag about how good I was. So I think this was maybe just after the World Cup as well. So yeah, because this is my 3rd season doing it on YouTube, so yeah, it would have been the season after the World Cup. So yeah, you don't always have to captain a double game week player, but of course it's always going to be your call. But I would go towards the Chelsea Man United players. I'd probably go Lukaku first. Not that I have any faith in Lukaku myself. Current wildcard draft from George Butler, David De Gea and Ryan. Decent choices in goal. Van der Vaart, me, Duffy, Van der Horn, Chilwell. Like the defence. Mahrez, Salah, Son, Willian Kennedy. Looks very similar to what I've got, apart from I think I've got Mkhitaryan. Firmino, Murray and Aubameyang. How have you got... Oh no, I might have had better transfer value. Never mind. Don't know what I'm I like that side. I may not like it next week, but right now, George, I like that side. Tiger Rage is in the chat. How you doing, Tiger? We've got Shani Razul as well. Main topics missed. We've talked about Double Game Week 34, which has been announced. We've spoken about where the other fixtures that haven't been rescheduled are most likely to be put. And then I've answered a lot of questions. I think I've talked about central midfielders. I think I've talked about defenders that I like the look of. Who I would triple captain in Game Week 34 if I was triple captaining. I would never triple captain a goalkeeper, TP, but I'm not saying it wouldn't work. If he got 2 clean sheets and lots of saves, it would be epic. But 1 goal ruins a game pretty much for a goalkeeper. Unless they, every now and again, they randomly get an assist. TV Football Analysis, I had Salah captain, Firmino and Main last game week. I hit jackpot. To be honest, the problem with Salah is everyone captained Salah last game week. So I really needed like Firmino, or even Firmino is very well owned. I needed like Van Dijk goals. And some people had Robertson. Robertson would have done really well for people. Yeah, I think most people around me, at least where my ranking is, have Salah. And most people in Game Week 31 especially would have captained him. So I got 93, taking a hit to get Tucson, worked out well. I was so close to getting Tucson. I think I stuck with... I went for other players in other positions because I still had players that weren't playing. But part of me wanted to swap out Wilson for Tucson, and I didn't. And I'm really annoyed. I managed to get a century in Game Week 31. Well done for that, Craig. 102 points. Jeff Holt says he got 87 from 1 player in Game Week 31. Well done. Well done. You beat me with 1 player. Well, you drew with me with 1 player. Look, it didn't go how I wanted it to. But on the plus side, I didn't drop too far down the rankings. Siraj, that add-on is absolutely rubbish. Right now it looks correct, but that add-on it doesn't work. Like, I've messaged him and said it doesn't work because I've been streaming at times and it said 0, and I know I'm not talking to nobody because there's stuff in the chat. But I'll be honest, if I had triple captain, I would have looked at triple captain in Salah because if he did anything, it would help you in that game week. Wildcard just 1 hour before the reschedule of Game Week 34, spanning in the works. Don't worry, you can transfer players out and in still. You do not take any minuses for transfers you make. I could completely change that side and I lose absolutely nothing. Your team so far: De Gea, Fabianski. Not sure about Swansea's fixtures. Duffy, Monreal, Tarkowski, Chilwell, Norton, Willian, Salah, Sterling, Son, Mahrez, Firmino, Aubameyang, Barnes. I like it. Are people going Barnes because he's cheap? Sorry, this is just for me. I'm going to have a quick look. Is Barnes cheap? I'm presuming it's Burnley's Barnes. 5.3. Is he one of the cheapest strikers in the game? I'm presuming that is the case. Does Barnes play? Because, I mean, there's some players there that I would potentially go before him. If I was going for cheap, I'd go Quainer. Let me just have a look. Oh, he's played every game recently, so I'm talking out my... Have they been playing 2 up front? Because for some reason I thought they were playing 1 up front and Chris Wood was there. But I think I've clearly got my wires crossed. Yeah, because I just assumed Woods were playing. But he's not been playing. Oh, wow. Shows how much attention I've been playing to the Burnley games. But Barnes actually looks a decent shout, to be fair. Bench boost 34. Free hit 30. I'd free hit 35. Josh Oram and wildcard 30. Okay. So you bench boosting 30. Josh Oram, I would love a more in-depth explanation to that if that is your plan, because no problem with bench boosting 34. Wildcard 37. I'm presuming you've built your team up for bench boost 34. Free hit 36. And then wildcard. That could, of course, it could work, but just my head isn't getting around that at the moment. Ammon Dillon back to drum board. Bench boost in 37. Triple captain 34. Planning to ride out game at 34 with a -4 and -8 advisable. I would never say no to a minus, but you have to be confident in that player doing well. So if you are confident in the player doing well in that game at 34, then I would go for it. Of course, with 2 games to get points as well, it's more likely they'll pay out. So you could do that. TV Football Analysis, I'm watching Hereford every Saturday for the next 8 weeks. International break means nothing to me. International break always means something. FPL is dead for a 2-week period, and then they'll hit you with like 3 or 4 game weeks in a week period near Christmas. Stavre Korovsky, welcome to the chat. First of all, I only have the triple captainship. When do I use it? I'll be tempted to try my luck on game week 37 because potentially you've got game week 37 fixtures where you could have some big hitters against some weak sides. So potentially game week 37 you've got Arsenal versus Burnley and Leicester. So you could pick an Arsenal option there. You've got, let me just find them, Chelsea, Liverpool, Huddersfield. Who knows how that will go. Huddersfield, man, you don't want to go there. Leicester, West Ham and Arsenal could be game week 37. Man City, Huddersfield and Brighton. So if you can pick the right Man City player, triple captaining them in that game week could be huge. Man United, Brighton and West Ham. Again, if you captain the right, triple captain the right Man United player, that could be huge as well. You've got Swansea, Bournemouth, Southampton. There's still potential there. But you've then got Tottenham, West Brom versus Newcastle is a potential game week 37. Now, Kane can do amazing in the end of the season. He did last year. He might be pushing for that golden boot. I think he won it in the last 2 game weeks last season. So potentially he could be, if he's still anywhere close to Salah, he could have game week 36 onwards, Watford, West Brom, Newcastle, Leicester. That is why I still might go with Harry Kane. So I would potentially try my luck game week 37. TB says, do the World Cup FPL run by FIFA. Not that excited though about World Cup FPL. I was excited when I did it last World Cup because my friends were doing it. However, and I was doing very well. The European one, I might be okay if I did it for YouTube, but the Euro one I didn't do for YouTube. I thought I'd take the time off. So, yeah, I hope I'll get into it. I always enjoy the World Cup more than the European Championship because it just, I like the fact that every team in the world could get there. Siraj wants to see Lingard at the World Cup. Tiger Rage, I can't see myself swapping me out for Loughton. Sorry. Me's been very consistent for me. It's almost like me has replaced Tom Heaton if Pope hasn't. If any of you guys were around last year, I get like some FPL crushes on some players. As far as Mickey, I just feel like he could have a great end to the season, potentially. The fact that Arsenal still in Europe is annoying me, though. I don't feel like I need to upgrade Pope. Pope's a good keeper with good fixtures. Smith, yeah, I could potentially upgrade him. Schindler, again, but Schindler's got fixtures where I think they could get clean sheet. Smith is the one that is kind of more like I hope he gets attacking returns, which could go wrong. Aaron Dillon, we're cool to see Egypt doing well. No offence to Egypt, but how many players around Salah do they have that could do well? But then again, we have seen players not carry teams, but their performance uplifts the rest of the team. Evan J. Fox. Any good options for double game week 34 and blank 35 and 37 double game week? That's a big question, Evan. Welcome to the chat. I mean, for double game week 34, we've already spoken about it. We like the look of Man United's fixtures. We like the look of Chelsea's fixtures. So those are the two really. Burnley have 2 home games, but they're 2 tough home games. For blank 35, you've got Burnley still have Stoke. So if you've got a Burnley player in for 34, they're guaranteed to have a game in 35. You have Liverpool against West Brom, 35. Liverpool against any small team is a decent shout. Arsenal have West Ham, so you could look at the Arsenal players. I mean, Everton, Newcastle, there could be points there, but would I risk going for the points from that? Man City have Swansea, so Man City options in that game week would be good. And then Stoke, Burnley, so Burnley, Stoke, potentially points there somewhere. And then as far as game week 37, not that anything has been nailed on yet, but from what I could tell, you've got Tottenham with 2 easy fixtures, West Brom, Newcastle. You've got City with 2 easy fixtures, Huddersfield, Brighton. And then I feel like there was one other team. Well, that might... Man United, Brighton, Hove Albion and West Ham. So it'd be those 3 teams for game week 37 that look like the best potential for points. Siraj, how much will Salah be worth next season? 15 million. Is it only Cristiano Ronaldo that's ever reached 14? Like, what was Kane at the start of this season? Was he 12.5 or was he 13? I feel like Ronaldo hit 14. Suarez may have been somewhere around there at some point. But I can't remember off the top of my head. I doubt he's going to be 15. But he will be a lot more expensive next season. And it's our job to try and find the next Salah. Not that that's likely, but... Jeff Holt, replacements for lesser defenders, 4.3 and 4.4 price tag. Give me low price tags, why don't you? Okay, so, defenders. Oh, you are... I think you're just challenging me. I don't even think you need me to answer this question. I think you're just trying to challenge me to find any sort of decent option. I mean, Alexander-Arnold has played a decent amount of games. He's 4.3. Kiko Firmino, I don't like a Watford option. I'm going to say that right now. I mean, the fixtures aren't awful, but... Ogbonna, I don't think the fixtures are good from memory. Yeah, there's a lot of tough fixtures in there. Kenny isn't worth going near now. Simpson, well, you're trying to get rid of Leicester defenders, so... Mate, that's a difficult question. That's a very difficult question. Is Sutton playing? That gets really difficult at the end of their fixture list, though. And he's not playing, so it doesn't matter. I reckon you've seen someone that is in this price tag that is a decent shout, and you're just asking me to see if I can see it as well. Well, he's too expensive. I think Alexander-Arnold is the only one. Until maybe like late season, you may get some options popping up that are playing purely because teams have nothing left to play for, so they're playing the youngsters. Jamal, I remember, don't worry, I remember. Don't get me wrong, I know the press and the commentators were really anti-Liverpool, but the mistakes, and to be honest, it was mainly Lovren, but the mistakes being made were just so amateur at times. And fair enough, they may have played the whole rest of the game really well, but because of that one mistake, I just saw their whole performance as rubbish. And trust me, I'm used to rubbish defensive performances because West Ham have been awful this season defensively, apart from a few moments when they seem to find their organisation. But yeah, I'll admit to when I'm wrong. I can be wrong. I've never ever suggested that I'm always right on this channel. So my current wildcard squad is, and this is the false 9, Pope and Fabianski, Maguire, Davies, Mustafi, Robertson and Tarkowski. I like Pope. I'm not sure about Fabianski. Although, to be honest, I say this, Fabianski has been a good keeper all season despite where Swansea are. Maguire, Davies, I need to check, but if Davies is nailed on, he's a great choice. Mustafi, Robertson, like them, they're alright. Tarkowski, Willian, Salason, Gross and Miller. Why do you put him in there? Decent midfield. Lukaku, Vardy and Firmino, like the attack a lot. The thing is, Steve, no matter where Salah is put, if he can continue this form into next season, he's going to be worth it. Siraj, thank you so much for joining. Pleasure having you in the chat. Hope college goes well for you tomorrow. Jeff Holt, when's the next baby then, Jerno? Not for a while. Maybe another... Could I... You asked that question. I was about to say maybe in 2 or 3 years. Can I imagine having a 5-6-year-old, a 2-3-year-old, and then another baby? Like, I couldn't imagine having the first one. And then when I realised my wife was pregnant with the second, I was like, ugh. And trust me, it's a lot harder having 2 than 1. One's a nice number. You deal with that one, and then when that one's sorted, you can do what you want to do. So I doubt it. I'm not going to lie, there's a small part of me that would like my surname to continue, and it's up to me or my brother. My brother is getting married this year, so if my brother has a boy, then everything is good. If he doesn't, who knows? I might have a word with the wife, see if we can have a third. I don't know, though. The likelihood of me having a third kid is probably pretty slim. Viali, right, I don't want the season to end. Siraj just confused about his midfield by the looks of it. The Man United midfield. Daz Dark, I agree. It's fine if you're either playing it with friends or the numbers are low. But I think the ones I did, there was too many people in. What could be possible next season is I'd do it with some YouTubers. What also could be possible is I might decide to do like a 10-person draft with you guys and then get you guys to vote for who you want to be in the league. That's an idea I've had. I mean, the ultimate idea I've had, and this was a while back, but I really don't think I've got the time to properly do it, especially with 2 children, is to do an actual like league system where I'd have the Premier League, League Championship, League 1 and League 2, and then have 24 people in one league. No, sorry, 20 people, 24, 24, 24. and then people can go up and down via their performance in FPL. That would be, but then again, that would be a point where this would be my full-time job if that ever happened, probably, because it's an ambitious plan. Tiger Rage's team. My team is De Gea, Robertson, Smalling, Alonso, Solomares, Williamson, Arnautovic, Firmino, Aubameyang, and bench is Tim Krul, Loughton, Chilwell, and Murray. Bench is okay, it's decent. Robertson, Smalling, Alonso. Not sure about Smalling. Alonso's expensive, but I could see them doing well. Like the midfield, like the attack. Arnautovic is one that my heart is telling me he could do really well. Southampton in game at 32, and then Stoke 34. I could see him doing well in both of those fixtures. The issue is he's got Chelsea 33, Arsenal 35, and then Man City 36. So it's the fixtures around that that is making me think he's not worth bringing in. See, Siraj, I missed the trick. I should have really done videos about Dragon Ball Super on my other channel. I've seen some channels grow massively from doing that. Jeremy T, Charlie Austin on anyone's radar, back in training on my watch list if he gets back in the starting 11. Could be. Would I take the risk? Only if I really needed to near the end of the season, most likely. Anton Pearson, my overall ranking at the moment is, if it loads up, there we go, 61,668th, 87 points last game week. I have played my wild card, so the chips I have left are free hit and bench boost. Jeff Hart, triple captain. Yeah, Jeff, stop bragging. Stop bragging. Jeff Holt, I'm closing on you, Jamal Rice. I'm just 10,759 behind you. I mean, you're closer than you were. That's still quite a big number. TP wants me to do FPL transfers drunk. My judgment seems better. I'm unlikely to get as drunk as I did in that one stream for the rest of this season, purely because a newborn's around in the house. But don't get me wrong, I did really well with that transfer, didn't I? It did work. That could be a thing we do next season. Like, literally the Thursday or Friday I do a stream and just get absolutely hammered and make transfers. I could have 2 teams and just have a drunk team. See how that does. Could be interesting experiment for YouTube. Evan J. Fox's team, he's got Dobraka, De Gea, probably saying the Newcastle goalkeeper's name wrong. Like the goalkeepers, me, Dunk, Ward, Stevens and Otamendi. I feel like Otamendi's probably too expensive now. You could use the money you've gained from him somewhere else, potentially, as we're getting near the tail end of the season. I could say that, and then Otamendi scores lots of goals. Salomares, Decore, Sane, Firmino. Oh, how many midfielders you got? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I don't know who you got on your bench, but the midfield I like. I just, again, I say this, Man City players, I don't know which Man City player will get the points each game week. Firmino's good, Wilson and Lukaku, please give option for game week 34, 35 and 37. I think I've already done that in the video. I think 34 we're looking at Chelsea and Man United. 35, I've forgotten already who we looked at. Arsenal, West Ham. Liverpool, West Brom, Man City, Swansea. So you're looking at those teams for big hitters in 35. And as far as 37 goes, Man City, Man United and Tottenham have very easy fixtures. So I'd look at those three. Jamal Rice pretty much has it covered. Keep 3 Liverpool players and you'll be fine. As long as you've got 3 players and they include, to me, Robertson, Van Dijk, Mane, Salah and Firmino, with Salah being unnegotiable as one of those 3, you're probably going to be fine. Craig Manuel, no worries, mate. Catch a rest tomorrow. I think I'm catching near the end of the stream anyway, or the chat anyway, so shouldn't be too much longer. Personally, Jeremy T, I think your plan still probably is the best plan. Apparently Thierry Henry was 14 at one point. Still hadn't played free hit. Best week to play. I'd still say 35 because it's a blank game week. Jeremy T needs to sleep. It's crazy late where I am right now. No worries, Jeremy T. Catch you later. Thank you for joining the stream. Rashford. Rashford is a decent option as long as he plays. Man United's fixtures are okay. Swansea, Man City in 33. Then West Brom, Bournemouth 34. 35 is blank. Arsenal 36. Then Brighton Hove Albion and most likely West Ham in 37. And then 38 is Watford. So the fixtures are there for Rashford. Is will he play? Will he not play? There could be rotation, which could be good for a player like Rashford. So he could be a good option. I'm not 100% confident to actually suggest it. Ricardo Pagan, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you in the stream. Thank you so much for joining. You kind of joined right when I'm going to finish the stream. So if you do have a question, Ricardo, feel free to ask it as quickly as possible now. Or you can message me on Twitter or on Patreon and I'll answer it there. Anton Persson, his team, David De Gea and Courtois. That seems way too much on goalkeepers for me. David De Gea, no issue with you putting him in your side. Courtois, I don't think you need Courtois when you have David De Gea. Christensen, decent shout. Robertson, decent. Vertonghen, decent. Morgan, Loughton, they're fair enough choices as your cheap defenders. Salah, Morris, Sterling, Son, Willian, good midfield. Vardy, Auba and Barnes. A lot of people going Barnes. Vardy and Auba, I do like. Auba is probably a bit of a punt though. Purely because he's new to the league, but decent. Ricardo Pagan, no questions, I'm working. Have a good night, mate. Hey, thank you so much for joining just for the view. Every little bit helps, so thank you so much for joining the stream. And I am going to call it there. So, bench boost in game week. If you're asking which game week to put that bench boost in, Anton, I'd probably say 34 still. Wildcard before 34 if you have it, and then bench boost in 34. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call the stream there. So thank you so much for tuning in. As always, if you want to support the channel, and your guys' support has been incredible recently with super chats, sponsorships, Patreon, Ricardo Pagan, looking at you. Thank you guys, first of all, so much for the support. It's huge. It means so much to me. Also helps me convince the wife that this is worthwhile when you guys support me, because I can tell her after I've streamed, Ricardo Pagan's become a Patreon. Jeff Holt donated or super chatted. Jamal Rice super chatted. Like, I can shut her up. Don't tell her I said that. But your support has been incredible, and it has been very heartwarming and heartfelt, and it's much appreciated that you guys would look at what I do as worthy of donating to. So it's much appreciated. If anyone else does want to do the same as some of the others have, you can of course super chat and sponsor the stream, and there are various links in the description of the videos. So thank you guys so much. And finally, as always, I've been J&O. This has been FPL Today. And remember, it's all about the game. And I'll promise I'll try and get some videos out. And if not, I will do some more streams. But of course, I am working around another kid. So, you know, got to be a parent sometimes as well. Can't just play FPL all the time. Anyway, catch you guys later.